to coming up to 3, 2, 1, Madam President.
Good morning, good day, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, depending on what part of the world you're watching us from. I hope you're all keeping in good health, keeping yourself masked up, keeping your hands sanitized. And when you sneeze, I hope you're sneezing in the corner of your arm. Those of you who have, most of us have been quarantined, not those of you, but most of us who have been quarantined are starting to get those heebie-jeebies of the desperately trying to get out of those holes, trying to get out of the houses, right? You can get out of the house, but just make sure that you're masked up and you're sanitized as much as you were even before, the allowance for us to come out. I know Maryland has allowed us to start operating. I think is it at 80%, where restaurants are open and shops are open and everything else is, almost coming back to normal. But that should not be a ticket for you to say, well, since they said we can meet, then I don't have to wear my mask. Still mask up. You need that mask to protect you. If not you, maybe your neighbor. Today's topic actually that we're going to be bringing to you is financial literacy. What is financial literacy? We have some guests that are on our show today that are going to spark this talk. I won't even dare to say a word on this financial thing. I told you, numbers is not my thing, but the numbers in my bank account, yeah, I know those very well. So the gurus of finance that I hear, I'm sure I'm going to learn a lot from them. And I'll be listening very attentively. So if you don't hear me participating too much today, that's because I also want to learn and to hear what the financial experts have to say about this. But tonight, I'm going to introduce our crew. We have our Reverend Pam, our chairperson, as always, beautiful, vibrant. We have our beautiful Ambassador Lisa as well, the prophetess. She's here. I don't see her, but she's here. And of course, we have our host, our King Kong host, my brother Niason. Let me have him take over from me because he is the man. Niason.
Hello, Sylvia. Hello. Welcome to the show in a way. And I was going to say something else, but I know that we are all enjoying the beautiful spring weather. It's not quite spring yet, but we are enjoying it. Greetings to the continent of Africa and greetings to all of us here today. And greeting to Brother Pius Awah. Please, you're welcome to the show. Ambassador Lisa, I will not start up without saying hello and welcome as always. That being said, I believe it is my turn now to give us some food for thought. A curious follower of Africa Online Media Corporation called me the other day asking, what is so particular about the month of April? Is it not just the fourth month of the year that has only April Fool as its attribute? Well, I asked, is that a question? You want me to answer that? He said, I know, yes. I want you to give me an answer. I mean, what can one associate April to apart from All Fool's Day? Well, with that in mind, I set myself thinking and I said, well, we've always seen months, we've always had months, but we never go back to find out why this month or that month and what is it all about. So with that in mind, and as that caller was almost dropping off, I said, okay, I know that very soon, he was actually calling from Africa. I said, okay, I know very soon you will lose your power because electricity delivery in Africa is as good a guess as yours and mine. So I noted that I will take action and I will be able on this program to let you know what I know or what I found out about April. So to answer that curiosity, I did what I sometimes do. That is, I went to the drawing board to search for all I can find about April. April is the fourth month of the year in the Gregorian calendar, the first of 4 months to have a length of 30 days. Remember 30 days as April, June, primary school, elementary school in those good old days. It is the second of 5 months to have a length of less than 31 days. It is commonly associated with spring in the Northern Hemisphere, where those of us in the United States happen to find ourselves. But then I said, well, we'll say that and then we'll go on to tell you that April 11, that is today, is the 101, that is 101st day of the year, 101. So 2021 has been with us for 121, what am I saying? 101 days. Okay, looking at it from the United States perspective, I found out that so many things are associated with the month of April, especially by Americans. They like celebrating things, I found out by looking at what happens with the months of the year. And so for April, I found more than a dozen things that are celebrated in one way or the other, either nationally or privately or individually. For example, it is Arab American Heritage Month. That is the month of April. It is Autism Awareness Month. It is Cancer Control Month. It is Community College Awareness Month. The one that hit me and reminded me of today, Financial Literacy Month. We'll be back to that one. Jazz Appreciation Month. Mathematics and Statistics Awareness Month. National Poetry Month. And remember, some time ago, we talked about National Poetry Day, and I said, begin to write your poems, and one day we'll carry them on this program, I'm sure. It is also Occupational Therapy Month, National Prevent Child Abuse Month, National Volunteer Month, Parkinson's Disease Awareness Month. Wow. Last but not least, Sexual Assault Awareness Month. I didn't know about that either. All the same, I knew that April is, as I said, Financial Literacy Month. All that in just April, I asked myself. But I said, we cannot just say, talk about April without looking at what history tells us about April. Some of the days of April, not all the days, because that would take more than the duration of this program. So on this day in 1865, Abraham Lincoln urged a spirit of generous conciliation during Reconstruction. The Civil War had just ended, and Lincoln was playing the healer-in-chief that presidents are supposed to be, reaching out to ensure that the building of a more perfect union continued unhindered by the scars of the Civil War. On this day in 1898, President McKinley poked the embers of conflict and asked Congress for the powers to go to war against Spain. That marked the start of the Spanish-American War. On this day in 1963, coming closer to our own time in history, Pope John the 23rd published the encyclica Pacem in Terris, calling for peace between all peoples, peace based on truth, peace based on justice, peace based on love, and of course, peace based on freedom. And on this day in 1979, getting close to home, the Tanzanian army captured the Ugandan capital of Kampala, forcing their strongman then, Idi Amin, to flee into exile, finally landing in Libya, from where he took up for Saudi Arabia. As mentioned earlier, April is Financial Literacy Month. And know it or not, out here in the United States, the need for that awareness is very important and often taken very seriously, especially among those few who seek the financial independence avenue that leads to social and political survival and empowerment. So you said financial what? Financial literacy. Does that mean, or does that imply that we are illiterate in financial matters? No. No, we do not mean literate in a pejorative sense. We mean literate as in being aware of how and why things happen the way they happen, especially if we have to deal with money. We mean being aware of and able to perform assigned tasks using reasoning, that is, critical thinking. So don't rush to conclusions. Look at it again. Financial literacy. Financial here being an adjective describing the noun literacy. No, we're not here to derogate anybody. We're here to make sure that we cut our T's and dot our I's. We're here to raise awareness. We're here to raise awareness about things we know about, but sometimes or often ignore to pay attention to. With April as Financial Literacy Month, therefore, we thought we might just prick your consciences and your thinking to see if doing the right thing insofar as managing our finances goes and can help us better manage those finances. That being said, why don't we turn to the financial experts in the house for a better understanding of what it all means? What is financial literacy? What should the individual do to acquire and use that knowledge in a rewarding way? At this point, I will turn to the chair of Africa Online Media Corporation to welcome all of us to the show. Reverend Pam, how is that landing strip behind your yard? Can I drop my helicopter there, please? Okay.
Well,
the technical crew is on hand.
I am not home. I'm in your neck of the woods. I'm in Maryland, so I don't know if you guys have any hangars in this neighborhood, but I think you were struggling because you butchered our president's middle name on your announcements today. You call her Litany instead of Litana. So that's what you get for messing up her middle name, but I'm sure she's forgiving you since she's a Christian.
I was surprised at that glitch, and I apologized to her profusely, and she pardoned me. She quickly said, okay, Nia Song, don't worry, we're in the same boat.
Okay, good for you, good for you. It's good to forgive. But thank you so much, Nia Song. Just listening to all those days, and just to remind you of the rhyme you were trying to say in primary school, they taught us 30 days has September, April, June, and November. All the rest have 31, except February. That has 28 or 29 in a leap year. Anybody remember that?
Oh, so, yeah, those early days.
Exactly. I see Pius giving me two thumbs up. So we learned that in primary school. So I want to welcome all our viewers. I want to welcome, well, actually, our main speaker is not a guest. We have another speaker who is a guest who is going to be joining. I think he's still in church. But this young man, Mr. Pius Awah, is actually a founding member of Africa Online Media Corporation. Don't ask me why you are just seeing him now after such a long time. That's, I don't know. He's going to tell you why he hasn't been here. But I think he came armed. He has his financial hat on, and he's ready to educate all of us. But, since I haven't seen him in a long time, and he lives apparently just 10 or 15 minutes from me, in Houston, I think I'm going to let him introduce himself, because if I have to introduce him, he will need to pay me. So, Mr. Pius, you are very welcome. Please introduce yourself to our guests, and then I would acknowledge our other participants.
Thank you very much, Reverend Pam. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever in the world you are. Greetings to fellow panelists that I can see on my screen. Nia Song, it's been a while. President Sylvia, Lanre, and my big brother Felix Anoma in Maryland. My name is Pius Awah. If it rings a bell, it's because it does. You're making the right connections. I've been in the financial industry for 10 years, teaching people how money works, how to build financial plans for themselves, and protect their families, build wealth, protect their assets, and also to transfer those assets. I work with several different companies. I'm what we call in the industry an independent advisor. The platform that I'm connected with, some of you may have heard, it's called World Financial Group, which is an arm of Transamerica. So before I go into say anything else, I want anybody listening to me to understand that our talk here today is not a solicitation. It's not, I'm not trying to sell anything or cause anyone to buy anything. I have to make that disclaimer. Do not take anything I say today as legal, tax, or financial advice. If I say something that piques your interest, please get back to me privately for more private consultation. I'm required to do that disclaimer so that nobody gets confused. Our talk today is going to be simply for educational purposes. And just to, since Niasong is on the chopping block today by Reverend Pam, I'll go ahead to pick my axe and chop you too. I didn't hear tax time. One of the biggest things, everybody in North America knows that April is the deadline for taxes. Most people know it more for taxes than any one of those other things. And I was taking a list as you were saying, and you didn't add that there. So it's why in 2004, the United States government decided to dedicate April as Financial Literacy Month. So that's a little bit about me and a little bit about what we're going to be talking about. I expect us to have some fun, be interactive. And back to you, Reverend Pam, so you can introduce all the panelists.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Pius. You know, you actually you just roasted Niasong. So he's a prof. But guess what? We all know, I think maybe he didn't mention anything because of the pandemic, the dates, some states have they've extended the dates, but we're actually going to be talking about taxes next week. And our CFO, Reverend Solange, who is a tax expert, a tax accountant, both degreed and certified in London, in UK, and the United States, is going to be our speaker. Hopefully, she's done with service and she'll be joining us. But I want to welcome our brother Landry, who is also in this industry. And my brother that I've not seen in a long time, brother Felix, please show us your handsome face. That's my brother. You know, it's been a while. You know,
all the handsomeness.
Yeah, very handsome, tall, fair, and handsome, but not available. He's married. So
Jesus.
If you are out there, don't have any ideas. He's
all
not
the men
available.
are married. All the men are married.
All the good ones. All the good ones.
If you try, I'll put Cameroon pepper in your eyes. He's not available. Yeah, he's not. He's not. He's my brother. That's the truth. He's my brother. You know, his mom is actually my godmother. So that's how close we are. So I want to also acknowledge our sister, Kewana, whom I had the pleasure and privilege of chatting with briefly before we got on the air. She's an expert in this area too, but today she will just be listening as an audience. You know, we're not going to go into too much about that. But I think I would give the mic now to the anchors, and I hope nobody on this show is going to roast or toast Niasong anymore. Let's have mercy on him. He's a legend.
Thank you,
Reverend Pam. I take back the
roast.
roasting because of the postponement. Okay, so I'll cut him some slack.
Thank you. There are two things I deliberately did not want to say until we get into the program. The first was that when I first saw the name Pius Awah, I thought of my former bishop in Buea. Then I said, oh, but the bishop had gone to be with his maker long ago, so it will not be him. And he was here, nothing to do with finances or literacy matters for financial literacy and so on. And the second thing I did not want to say was, I did not want to remind anybody to go file their taxes because they should know when to file their taxes. So those were deliberate left out. So Brother Pius Awah, thank you very much for so quickly for giving me. And Reverend Pam, I think Ambassador Lisa has been listening so keenly. I would want her to say a word. I know she likes to travel the continent of Africa. So just say a word and then we'll go with the questions for our guests and our hosts and our friends and brothers who are in the house.
Habarigani, Osibie Otia, and bonjour, bonsoir to everyone. Thank you for this time. I'm going to ask my questions while I am talking. Thank you, Kiwana, for joining us. I don't know if you know it or not, but on my camera, you're sitting right next to your coworker, Landry. On the camera. I don't know where you're sitting on your camera, but you're sitting next to Landry right there.
Oh my God. Oh, so they know each other. Wow.
Yes, yeah, they know each other. They're co-workers. Yes.
I did not know that. I did not know that.
He wanted to introduce me to him because I know a diaspora, and as soon as we met, we were getting ready to have something here at Africa Online. So I invited him here. That's how he kind of got here and got stuck before I could share him around with everybody else.
Okay.
Part of Africa Online Media now. So Ms. It's wonderful to meet you. I look forward to hearing from you. And my question, while I do have the floor, is I thought the deadline for filing your taxes this year had been postponed as well. Is that right?
Yes, until May, until I think May 15. And that being said, I was going to acknowledge Felix, who has turned off his camera, but Felix is not just a member of this wonderful group.
Founding member.
Not just a founding member, but one of the people that I've known personally for a long time. His elder brother was my schoolmate in Sussex College. We're not classmates. He was a year behind me, but we have always worked together whenever we have the opportunity, because that bond that binds Sobans is so tight that no amount of chopping or axing will separate us. That being said, Brother Pius Awah, we are talking financial literacy. Like my caller from Cameroon said, he was actually calling from Cameroon. Oh, are we so illiterate about finances? That was a question he put to me before. I said, no, rephrase your question. Is financial literacy such a big problem?
Thank you for the question, Nielsen. It is a big problem, but first we should look at the word literacy, and then maybe we'll understand why financial literacy is a big problem. So what is literacy? First of all, if you Google the word, it simply means the ability to read and write, but it also means having competence in a certain area. So the question becomes, does everybody, family, head of household, working class person anywhere around the world, do they have the necessary competence and skills to be able to manage their family's resources in the way that they get ahead, they don't fall behind, they are able to build financial security through their working life and stuff like that. So when you look at it from that standpoint, then you start imagining why it might be a problem, because most people think because they are literate, they are educated, they are necessarily financially educated, and nothing could be further from the truth, because they do not have the competence or the skill sets. So when you look at the word literacy, once you put literacy in front of financial, and you're talking about having or possessing some basic skills or knowledge on basic concepts in finance to be able to manage your financial resources in a way where you mitigate loss, increase gain, and build financial security over time. So the question is, why is it a problem? It should be, why is it a problem? Because most people go into their personal finances thinking that because they can read and write, and they necessarily can manage their money. A good way to understand this would be let's talk about wine literacy, for example. Anybody here that drinks wine understand that a wine connoisseur knows their wine. You got to know what it means by wine is dry, is mild, a Merlot from a Cabernet, a Bordeaux from a Shiraz, and stuff like that. So it means that they have some basic understanding about wine to be able to savor it. And financial literacy is no different. You will not become a winemaker or producer or distributor by becoming wine literate, but you'd be able to understand why you like the kind of wine that you like and when recommending it. So when you look at financial literacy, most people copy what their neighbors do or their friends do or their family members do. So we drink Merlot because our family has been drinking Merlot, but we may not really like Merlot, or we could be missing out on a Bordeaux or a Shiraz. And that's the same kind of mindset that people apply to financial matters. I'm going to go buy some Bitcoin because everybody is buying Bitcoin, or I'm going to go read up on investing because everybody I know at work is doing that. Everybody has Robinhood on their phone. So let me download it and see what I can do. You have to have the basic skill sets to be able to do these things, to now say you are literate. And then there is a measure of your literacy. In competence, we have to measure competence. So to be competent in anything is to be able to complete that task, as you said, Niasong, in a timely manner, to either your satisfaction or the satisfaction of the person that you are delivering for, right? So if you are financially literate, are you applying the knowledge that you acquired, the skill sets, to the results that you desire in your financial life? So I don't, I could talk till tomorrow on this, but back to you. I don't know if that kind of answered the question, but you have to look at it from a broad standpoint. And then we start kind of asking ourselves the questions, oh my God, so are you telling me that I'm not financially literate? Maybe, so.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for shedding the light. Reverend Pam, you are itching, I believe, to ask a question, but I know that Brother Awah has brought in a lot of things about wine, which I know you are not very familiar with. You are not literate about wines, so I will excuse you for that, but I know you have a question for our panelists.
First of all, you just call me a wine illiterate. I'm very happy to be a wine illiterate. Yes, I don't even have a clue of any of the stuff that he talks about. I drink H2O, and I'm very proud of that since 2001. So anyway, things are happening. I don't know why Pius decided to use wine as an example. I don't know if it was against me or not. You see, things happen. This show is unscripted, and the way people attack me on this show is unbelievable. But since I'm a Christian, I forgive him, I forgive Niasong. What can I say? All good. But before we weigh in, I definitely have some questions, but I want to acknowledge our other speaker who is a guest. I believe this is his first time here. Brother Derrick, you are warmly welcome on this beautiful April Sunday, April the 11th. I would like to hand the mic over to our beautiful and faithful ambassador to introduce you. So Ambassador Lisa, please introduce our brother to our audience and our guests, our participants.
Wonderful. It gives me great pleasure to introduce my brother in the Lord, Derrick Billups. I can say a lot about him, but he is a financial genius, and I'm excited to have him here with us as we are all talking about financial literacy. And I'm sure that between all of our experts today, we're going to get a wealth of information, especially the wealth building part and how we can begin to help our families back on the continent, because they don't have the opportunities that we have. They don't have the money to invest that we have. The little bit of money that they do have, trust me, it has to go to their daily food. When they pray, give us this day our daily bread, that's exactly what they mean. So whatever we gain today, it will help us be able to encourage and invest and help our family on the continent. Trustee, well, he's a trustee at my church. He happens to be my apostle's brother-in-law as well. So forgive me, because I don't want to get in the habit of calling him Derrick today. I'm not going to disrespect him, but he is a trustee at my church. So if I slip up and call him trustee, y'all know why. Derrick Billups.
Thank you, Madam Ambassador. And I'm not sure if our sister wants to say something quickly. A trustee is a very good name. So if you slip up, I think people would trust what comes out of his mouth.
Amen.
He's a trustee. But Sister Kiwana, did you want to just say something briefly before we go back to the anchors? It's up to you.
Yes. Sure. Well, I definitely want to introduce myself as a person in the financial service industries. I work for a Fortune 100 company, and we're pretty strict in terms of standards and compliance. So because I needed to get proper approval to be on this platform, there's a lot that I can't say. But what I do know is that if I speak from the position of a community advocate, touching on the issues that I know in my profession has a lot to do with individuals needing to gain information that will help them go into a point of entry. And when I say a point of entry, I mean the least expensive way, the least expensive way to position yourself to protect your family and move towards building generational wealth. I'd love to touch on some of those things that I found to be challenges in our community, and have some of the other professionals that's joining us today sort of expand upon it. I think that might be the best approach for me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, my beautiful sister. Thank you so much. So I'm going to hand over to the anchors. I am sure my brother Felix will have a lot to say. He always has a lot to say. And of course, brother Landry, but I'm going to hand over to the anchors so they can take a turn and pose questions to our main two speakers today. Mr. Awah already spoke and brother Derrick is on, and then we can give the other participants the mic to speak. Over to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. And Kiwana, was not being ignorant of your presence on the screen from the beginning. I just wanted to keep the sweetest for the last. Reverend Pam knows that I appreciate. She knows I appreciate women very much. But that said, thank you for your input. And I will turn over to Brother Derrick. Welcome to the show, please. And you will introduce yourself and tell us a little more about financial literacy.
Well, hello, everyone, and it's an honor to have me on. Thank you, Ambassador Lisa Parks. I want to thank you for inviting me, and I'm just here to share what little knowledge that I have. Again, everyone's here is so experienced, and I'm just here as hopefully added value to. Hopefully, I can add value to what is important. And as the young lady, and I apologize, she came on so fast, and then she left so fast, I didn't know her name. I didn't get her name. So I just wanted to say, I'm like you. I'm someone that even though I'm independent, I've been through the rigors in terms of working for Fortune 500 companies, things of that nature. And so from a financial standpoint, there are some constraints. And so usually what I like to do is just to keep it general, but I think we will both know, and all of us will know, that the information can be used universally. And so, again, my name is Derrick Billups. I'm an author of 2 books, Changing Your Condition, Not Your Position, and Are You Making a Living or Making a Life? These are 2 books that I wrote and I feel great about because they've helped a lot of people. Again, I know Ambassador Lisa from my church, and we've become great friends. And so I'm just here, again, more importantly, to add value to the program. And hopefully, if you have me, if I do a good job, you'll have me again, and I can be of some help to as many people as possible.
At this point, I'll call on our co-host, Sylvia, to take the microphone and do what she knows best how to do. Sylvia, are you with us at the moment? I think she's muted, but I will go ahead and ask Brother Awah another question. Now, when they talk of financial literacy, and somebody interested, say like Ambassador Lisa said, on the streets of in Africa, wanting to learn about this, is there a syllabus? Is there a guide that people can follow to be able to understand or to be able to grapple with what financial literacy is all about?
Thank you again, Nia Song, for the question. Go ahead, Mr. Billups. Go ahead.
No, I didn't know who you were talking to. You're fine, sir. Go ahead. You're fine.
Oh, okay. So, yes, the short answer is yes. There are lots of places, and to be fair, I was looking up as Mr. Billups was introducing himself. I was looking him up on LinkedIn and Googled him up, and he actually teaches classes on financial literacy to youth and stuff like that.
Okay.
Awesome.
And there are a few organizations out there, including the one I belong to, whose marketing strategy, for lack of a better word, is actually education, because education is the best way you can serve your client. You just don't want people to buy based on cost. You want them to implement based on understanding. Now, most people make mistakes because they don't know where to go to find education. You know, and because of the way we are wired, the financial institution is something that we look to for solutions. We don't think that these institutions are businesses in the business of making money. So they may not necessarily care about whether we understand very much what we are getting into. So some organizations have structured educational programs which can take somebody, you know, a simple business person, a working class person, and give them some basic concepts of how money works, you know, so they understand that I may not, you know, where do I save to actually get a better return? How do I start to invest? What do I look at?
Yes.
So you cannot just want to build wealth and jump to investing. You have to sit and assess, are you the right person to start investing, or is there something? So yes, there are organizations, and I'm sure between those of us that are here on the panel, our restrictions notwithstanding, can point to some of this. So I wear some hats that tie me down, but the hat I'm using today does not tie me down, so I can talk about these things.
Awesome.
Okay. So
that's good, because I like that hat you're wearing.
Yeah.
If you see my background, it says Financial Literacy Campaign, and there are all these things out there that people can get into. There is a syllabus. Like anything, you have to start with the fundamentals. Okay, what are the basic concepts that anybody needs to understand to be able to say they are financially literate? You have to be able to understand basic things like what we call the wealth formula. How does money work? You know, the time value of money. You have to look at the rate of return. You have to look at the impact of inflation and taxes. You have to look at your financial foundation plan. You know, you don't go, you know, what are the steps to get to your goal? You have to look at your timeline, your affordability, and stuff like that. And there's a whole lot of things. You have to look at how much protection you have before you're going into something else. So there is a pathway to that. And anybody that's, I'm sure any one of us here, between myself, Mr. Billups, and the young lady, can point you to a particular organization that has a syllabus that can work for you. There are tons of things going on, and it's usually better to work with somebody that guides you along the way. So if there's a term that challenges you, you can actually have a reference point. Okay, so
yeah, I'll turn the microphone to Sylvia, and I'll be right back. So Sylvia, over to you.
Okay. Thank you so much. I think somebody wanted to make a comment.
Yeah,
yes, Brother Derrick wanted to say something.
Brother Derrick, go ahead.
No, let the young lady, I forget her name, let her go first.
Kiwana.
Yeah,
let Kiwana go first.
All right. Okay, Kiwana, go ahead.
I just wanted to add to that and say, well, one thing that's really important is that now we have online access. So you can kind of be anywhere and get to tap into valuable information. But one of the most important things is meeting people where they are. What I might say to someone who is younger, let's say in between the ages of 18 and 30, may not be the same thing that I would say to someone who's a little more mature. So there's different stages. You have your earlier part. The one thing when they say each one teach one, there's nothing like at a very young age teaching your children the value of money and the importance of saving. Right? So in America, so much of our financial literacy and investments that we're interested in is connected to our credit score. That may not be the same in a different country. So I think knowing your audience when it comes to sharing information regarding financial literacy is one of the key and important factors. And before you can begin to discuss investing, the first thing you have to do is discuss how do you pay yourself, right? You understand your commitment to paying your bills, but how do you pay yourself in order to save money to invest? I think so when it comes to financial literacy, I definitely would say the information you impart has a lot to do with knowing your audience and being able to speak plainly That's really important. I think in a presentation, you should be able to share information in a way that someone with an 8th grade education can understand when you're just talking about literacy. Now, when we get into investments, that does require a more sophisticated understanding, but you can't even speak on investments and wealth building until you first tackle literacy.
Awesome.
Brother Felix, did you want to chime in?
Brother Derrick, were you talking to me? Brother Bill?
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. Yes.
No, I couldn't agree more, and I couldn't have said it better. And for me, that's what it's all about. I'm a former educator. I was an elementary school teacher, middle school teacher, and a high school teacher. So that's exactly right. You have to meet people where they are. And one of the things that where I always start, because I'm an educator, I work from that standpoint, and things like mindset and systematic things, budgeting, influencing people who influence you, what influence you, goals, habits, having a team. Those things I put in place so that no matter where you are, it allows you to move in a systematic way, which will get you from, if you're age 18 and you're a neophyte in investing or trying to save, and understanding that until you move on to a more sophisticated level. And so I think that's so important, in knowing where you are, meeting people where they are, because then that allows them to be, the key of what I found over all these years that I've worked with people in helping them to be financially literate, is to get them to understand and get them in a position where they want to do better. Okay. And the only way they want to do better is if you meet them where they are. And that's a mindset, and helping them to understand, okay, this is where you are. Let's move from there, and let's take it slow until they become gradually better. They become more gradually successful. And what I mean by successful, I mean they're on a system. They're systematically doing things over and over and over again, which helps them to become successful just in the minimum things of saving every day and understanding that. And so I couldn't agree more, in meeting them where they are, being in the beginning, starting in the beginning, and then moving them to gradually getting them to more sophisticated areas. And so that's what I do as an educator, and that's what I will continue to do.
Fantastic. Brother Felix, you want to chime in? Excellent. Brother Felix, want to unmute?
Where is he? Did we lose him?
All right, Lonray.
I think we lost. Unmute yourself, Brother Larry.
Thank you very much.
Go ahead, please.
Thank you very much, Madam
You're welcome.
President. I really appreciate the opportunity. And one of the things I keep telling people about this program is that come and learn.
Come and learn.
Come and learn, come and take in, come and take away. When you come, you learn, you take in, and you take away. And the rest is up to you. Mr. Pius, am I correct?
Mm.
You're on
Yes.
mute.
Go ahead.
Yes, it's Pius.
Okay, Mr. Pius, thank you very much. It's been an honor to meet with professional, trustee Derrick. Nice to meet you, sir. And my very good sister, Kiwana, and the host of everyone. Yeah, financial literacy for me is what has helped me to where I am. I would take it. I would contribute from the personal experience, and I tell this story wherever I go. One of the things that I know, which my pastor said this morning, is that you don't make money; you earn money. And what makes you earn money is part of the techniques, what we are talking about when it comes to having that literate mind to help you get to where you want to get to. It is only the government that makes money, not individual.
Mm.
They are the
Wow.
only one
Yeah.
that makes money.
Great
That's
distinction.
right.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
we only earn money because from what they distribute, we go there based on the information that is available need. One thing I would say, which is the key here in becoming financial literate, is how to identify needs, personal needs and people's needs. If you don't identify your own needs, you won't be able to identify what you need. So there are two things that I always work with for myself and the people I meet. having the understanding of how to identify, create, and transfer. Those are the three basic things I see when it comes to financials. You identify what you need, then that is how you can also use that to create what others people need. So in return, you get it's an exchange of value and service. So from there, you build. When you build, you maintain. When you maintain, you now create. 2006, when I was working for a corporation, and after my university, everybody want to like, I want to work in a bank because that's the hint in there. People want to work in a bank because of the money they get in, in Nigeria, how the lifestyle. But I said to myself that I wasn't going to work for any bank. So one of my aunt who was working for a oil company said, "Let me have your CV." And I said, "For what?" And she said that maybe I can send it in to the HR if there's an opportunity. And I said to her, said, I don't think I'm looking for a job. And she said, "Are you crazy?" And I said, "No." So said, "What do you want to do?" Because I know how to cook. And I worked in a hotel. So, and as a waiter, I was going to school in the morning, and I'll work at night. So I worked closely with the kitchen people. So then in Nigeria, from my understanding that I know that I grow up, we cannot differentiate between what food are for breakfast or lunch or dinner. We eat everything at any time. So yeah, and I where I was working, it's in a kind of high bro area where you meet with people from international high corporate organizations, people there. So and I identify that people need they want to change, but they don't know what change they need. But from that experience, I said that, you know what, a lot of people would need breakfast. They don't want to be eating and swallowing in the morning and eating the same thing at night, or
Right.
because it's because that they cannot afford it. We had programmed in our mind that we cannot open our mind to be literate on things that would benefit us. So what I did was that I learned from there that people, instead of buying English breakfast for $200 a plate, I realized that I could offer it at $10, the same thing. The difference is that they're gonna be people that are paying 200, that they are paying for overhead, they're paying the company, they're paying the hotel, but I'm gonna be providing to you at your doorstep the same thing. So my aunt gave me, like, then was like equivalent of $20, which is about 13,000 naira. So I invested it. I did a little bit of research and I put everything together. Then I invested the money in breakfast service. What was I doing? Creating wealth and also meeting needs. My objective is to be wealthy, but how do I get there? I did not have the understanding, but I realized that there was a need. There was an open space that I can fit in. So I started that, and I employed 3 people. What we were doing was I wrote to a bank that I want to be providing breakfast for your employees because some of them will get to the office as early as 6 a.m., sleep in the car, wait for food to eat before they get into their desk. However, let's close that gap. While they are working, they can snack, sandwich, coffee, cappuccino, and because I already understand that when someone goes to the office, that we offer them coffee. So what stops them from drinking coffee? When someone comes in to see the manager, they offer them cookies. What stops the employees from having the same thing? So it was a big opportunity. At that point in time, the bank said yes. So in 2009, from 3 employees, I had 38 employees on the payroll,
Awesome.
Wow.
servicing a lot of banks on the Victoria Island. And our turnover went from that 13,000 naira. Then the history is still there. People you can connect. The banks is still there, up to date. They have every evidence. From 13,000 naira to 25 million naira.
Wow.
So
25 million naira.
Yes. So I mean, at that time, maybe like I'm talking about $500,000, you know, because of the conversion. I can't remember what it was then. That's 2009. So what are we talking about? We are talking about identifying needs. That is the literacy there. That is the concern there. The other aspect of how you want to build, maintain, keep, protect the money, it's in the hand of the professionals. So some people are, you know, I know how to take care of my money, and you're telling me you don't have money. You had so much money then, you had so much things then, you have this asset then, you're not protecting your asset, you're not consulting professionals who understand the timeline, the time value of money, how, where this money is coming from, what are the challenges of how you can keep your money. You don't know. So I have to be honest with you, there's some things that we can teach people, there's some things that we say, we can tell them, they cannot do it until we transfer that service to other people. So at the end of the day, the literacy part of it is to find opportunity, create the substance that would fill in the opportunity. And when you fill in the opportunity, you are creating substantial value that will keep you there. So those are the things that I look at it from the different perspective of how we can do things global. And this is not about Africa alone. This is people all over the world.
Can I just, you know, I just wanted to chime in and say one of the most important starts is understanding, right? It's really important to understand what you have. So that starts with you have your income, but then you have to subtract your debt, right? So just to use really simple numbers, you know, if you have $100 coming in, but your responsibilities says that 60 of those dollars are going to be spent, right? So that $100 has turned into 40. And let's just say that $100 is after tax, right? So now after you've paid all of your expenses, you're actually working with $100. Now, for so many people, they believe that's discretionary income. But as I said, if you're working, one of the most important things you have to do is pay yourself, right? So if you want to change your circumstances, if that $40, if you decide this is not just $40 for me to do as I please, because I've taken care of all of my responsibilities without you taking care of the biggest responsibility being you, and the biggest need being you and how you plan for your future, right? So for folks to understand, well, that $100 is actually $40. We have to start with that. So out of that $40, what am I putting aside that I can then take a smaller percentage? Say if you know, you still want to live, you still want to have fun. Say if out of that 40, you're just putting aside 10, right? What am I doing with that $10 that can turn that $10 into $20 or $30 each week, right? And I start to build. So I do think one of the most important things is understanding what you actually have, right? It's always structure before strategy. So that starting point is to understand what you actually have to work with, to change your circumstances, to show how financially literate you are, because you are taking something and making more of it. And you explained that in your story, how you were taking something and making more of it. And I just wanted to chime in and say, it really starts with understanding what you actually have. And that should be done in a way where it applies to anyone, whether you're making $100 or $5,000 a week, right? The structure should apply to anyone when it comes to understanding.
Excellent. Well, very, very good information. Can I ask, you wanted to chime in?
Yes, Ms. President.
Go ahead, please.
What an incredible combination, right? So I'm sitting here connecting the dots between Mr. Billups, Lanre, and Kiwana, right? So, and it circles back to education. Mr. Billups talked about mindset. We have to, first of all, wake people up to the fact that there is a science to building wealth. There is a science to getting better at the money game. There's a science to winning in the money game. You have to be in that mindset. And it starts with understanding that you have to pay yourself first, which he said you have to budget, because if you don't budget, you will never find the money to pay yourself first, and you need to reduce that. And that is the education. Most people understand that they need to save. They just don't know how, because we live in a world that drives us to do other things than saving. So we put ourselves last. We have kids, we have bills, we have people to impress and stuff like that. And sometimes our paying ourselves is not the first thing we think about, which should be, because you put other things first. So, and then to Lanre's point, by far, the biggest salvation to financial security, besides the education, would be entrepreneurship. So entrepreneurship is where you create wealth instead of earning money, like you said. You have to think out of that. And it circles back to Mr. Billups again. It is the mindset. What are you thinking about? If you don't think you need to get an education on something, you probably wouldn't do it, even if somebody's banging on your door trying to help you. So people need to get into that mindset. And it's amazing connection of the dots that we just made here. Madam President, back to you.
Thank you. Yeah, this is wonderful. Does somebody else want to chime in before we move on?
Yes, I just wanted to talk about paying yourself. And it's so fantastic that this is coming now. I'm very practical when it comes to issues like this, because you cannot deceive yourself. If you want to, then you are sitting on the keg of gunpowder. So I have 3 boys. And those 3 boys, I know that one of the things that, like a few years ago, if I would take them to cut their hair, if I go to the barber shop to cut their hair, I'm paying about $60, because when they cut for 10 or 15, then you tip, right? So afterward, I was watching YouTube on my phone, and somebody was talking. It was just like random video like that, and the guy was talking, and I said, I can do this myself. So I challenged myself. I went to one of the stores. I bought. I just bought one type of hair, the machine, whatever. I just called one. We called it, yes. So I said, I'm going to experiment this thing. Then let me pay myself. So I did it. My wife was the one that was checking. Do it this way. Do it that way. Do it this way. Do it that way. So after finishing, cutting every one of them, I realized that I have saved $60. And what did I do? I bought the machine for like $25. So I invested $25. I gained about $35. Put on a boom aside. Then number 2 is that I realized we have loan, our loan. So we have this machine that we bought it. So every time I cut it, I pay myself $25. During this snow, I pay myself $30. So 2008, to experiment all these things, I realized that on that alone, I had saved about $1,800 cash. So all these things, cutting my kids' hair will take me an hour. It's my free time, right? So I've earned like $60 an hour like that. 3 days ago, I cut my hair. Then the pandemic now changed everything. So I wanted to cut my hair. I couldn't. I just called my wife, said, can you help me with my hair? And she said, how do I do it? I know you want this. I said, don't worry, just cut it. I'm not going, it's going to grow. So she cut it, and I paid myself. I didn't pay, I paid myself. So.
Oh no.
You paid yourself. She did the job.
Unacceptable.
That's not fair. That's unacceptable. but you owe her some money.
Okay.
What did you look like
You
afterwards?
owe her some money. We are coming to the top of the hour right now, ladies and gentlemen. Let us listen to our anthem, and we will be right back. Don't go nowhere. Stay where you are in the seats. We'll still continue with the same topic after the anthem.
Thank you, but Larry, I think you just got yourself into trouble here.
I'm coming back for him. Don't worry. I'm coming back for him.
I don't think you knew.
Madam President, you're on my side.
No,
I'm not on your side.
Nobody's gonna be. None of the sisters is gonna be on your side today.
I'm coming back for you after this intermission.
Okay.
All right, we'll be right back.
Okay. Before I play the anthem, I want to pose some questions for our amazing speakers to address after the anthem. I have two questions for Brother Pius, and I will let him explain what Jangi is to the team. And Jangi is something, I know they call it something different in Nigeria and they call it something different in Zambia. I don't know if there is a version of it in the United States, but Brother Pius, a lot of our people get involved in Jangi as a way of saving money, but it doesn't yield interest. So why should somebody who is involved in Jangi, I'm not involved in any personally, but I've done it before in the past, but why should somebody who is involved in monthly Jangi choose to invest that money in a financial institution like the one that you have in your background, as opposed to the Jangi? And part two, there is also something that we have done in our church is 52 weeks money savings. You save an amount equivalent to the weeks. Like on week 1, you save $1. Week 2, you save $2. Week 3, you save, I think by the end of the year, you come close to 1,500 or 14 something. So that's another version. My second question is for Brother Derrick. I can call him brother because he looks like me. He's my brother. And we are family on this show. Two questions. Brother Derrick, in this country, for you to be able to purchase a house or even rent a car, whatever they want, credit. And we all know credit cards come with finance charges and interest. And we're telling people to save money, business people pay yourself, but then they want you to get in debt to be able to become credit worthy. So I want you to touch on that. The second thing I want you to touch on is distrust among our people, not just Africans, even African Americans. A lot of us, are apprehensive about talking to people like you and Brother Pius and Sister Kiwana, because we don't understand, the benefits of it. We don't understand. We focus more on the risk than on the benefits. So I want you to touch on that. Then my third question is for our sister who is here as just like part of the audience, but a lot of people don't pay themselves. I used to be one of those people, not anymore. I'll give an example. There was somebody that used to be so proud of themselves. They were selling a merchandise. I won't say what it is because if I do, this person will watch this show and know I was talking about her. So I will not say the product. But this person was purchasing this product for like $9 and selling it for $12 and was so happy with herself that she was making money. I said, you are actually losing money. I said, did you consider the overhead, like the rent? Even though you are keeping this in your house, that's rent. Your electricity, your gasoline that you drive to go and drop this product. I said, if you calculate it, I said, what about your time? What is what is the value of your time? Unfortunately, back home, people don't really put value to their time because a lot of times people don't get paid hourly. So I want our sister to expand on that. How can people actually know they are making money or calculate their value? So, and should they still pay themselves if they are not making money? Because if they had to hire somebody, they'll be paying that person. So I want you guys, and you can go maybe ladies first. Since Brother Larry just told us that she's taking advantage of my sister, I'm going to be calling Dr. Ajibade after this show. Make sure she collects that money.
He needs to pay that money. We'll make sure he pays that money.
Exactly. I'm going to be calling her after this show. You shared that information on the wrong show. You're not gonna get away with it.
We are coming for you.
Yeah, so we're gonna start with Sister Kiwana, Brother Pius, and then Brother Derrick after the anthem. And since our guest, Brother Derrick, this is your first time, this is our anthem. you know, and we own full rights of it. The songwriter is yours truly, myself, Reverend Pam, and DJ Skipper composed it. So enjoy the anthem.
I'll be right back.
Oh no. Africans, Africans for Africa. 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 Africans have many bright ideas. If only you let us share. If you really want to know my history, please come, sit down, listen to my story. God gave us a wisdom. He guides our footsteps, makes us shine and transform. Hey, as one people, with so many cultures, yet indeed we are one. Stand up, Africans, let's save Africa. Let us all unite behind Africa Online Media Corporation. Stand up, Africans, let's save Africa. It's time to come together, promote awareness, progress, and solution. Hey. Africans, Africans for Africa. Africans, Africans for Africa. Africans, Africans for Africa. All Africans can rally for a common cause. To believe without judgment in what our brother does, to identify and resolve our challenges, to allow each other's ideas without regard to standards. As one people with so many cultures, yes indeed we are one. Stand up, Africans, for Africa. Let us solve all the problems plaguing our continent. Stand up, Africans, let's save Africa. Let us empower Africans in and out of Africa. Stand up, Africans, for Africa. Africa Online Media Corporation, that's a good way to start. Stand up, Africans, let's save Africa. They have all the resources we need to benefit our society. Oh. For everyone, if we believe prosperity for Africans, if we believe medical facilitation for Africans, if we believe stand up, Africa, yes, for Africa. Africa Online Media Corporation, that's a good way to start. Stand up, Africans, let's save Africa. Africa is the cradle of civilization, the motherland. Stand up, Africans, for Africa. We were enslaved not because we were weak, but because of our hospitality. Stand up, Africans, let's save Africa. Jump on the Africa Online Miracle Jet. Don't be left behind. Stand up, Africans, for Africa. we shall succeed. Together we will win. Stand up, Africans. Let's save Africa. We are writing our own story. The truth, and we shall tell it to the world. Stand up, Africans, for Africa. No more lies. Africans own Africa.
No more lies. Africans own Africa. No more lies. Before our panelists respond to the questions I posed, we are going to be talking about taxes starting tomorrow and next week. We're going to finalize on the air next week. We're going to be talking about taxes. Our CFO will be educating us about our taxes. So I think, and please, as you answer the questions, we started with Sister Kiwana, and then Brother Pius and Brother Derrick. Please, when you answer those questions, take a minute and tell our audience if you have any book. I think, Brother Derrick, you talked about a book. We want you to promote that book. You're welcome to do so. Brother Pius, you can tell them how to contact you. However, if anybody doesn't remember the information, feel free to inbox us at info@africaonlinetv.org. We will channel the information to them. But so, Sister Kiwana, we start with you, Brother Derrick, and then Brother Pius. Do I need to repeat the questions I asked before the, if anybody needs me to repeat it, I will. But Sister Kiwana, since you are a sister, we own the world, we run the world, and we rule the world. You know, Brother Larry needs to figure that out today. You know, so Sister Kiwana, the mic is yours.
He needs to pay before Brother Landry speaks today. He needs to pay that money. Otherwise, he's not talking no more on the show.
Good.
We need to see that money paid. We need to see that money paid today before we get off the show.
I'm making the transfer right away.
All right.
Can you screenshot it? I need a screenshot of that. Thank you.
Okay, I'll send it to you directly.
All
Go
right,
ahead,
Sister
Sister
Kiwana.
Okay, so before I begin, I wanted to share that actually why I am on this platform as a community advocate. I do have an event coming up that focused on retirement planning, how to save money and how to save money in terms of taxes. And my beautiful Mame, Ambassador Prophetess Lisa, she's actually going to be supporting that event and have the information. Again, it would be inappropriate for me to share anything on this platform. But in answering your question in regards to how people can pay themselves. Well, first, I want to put some perspective on it, because what I would say for a working class person is going to be a little different from what I would say regarding an entrepreneur. So for the working class, say, for example, something that I found that's common in our community is a lot of people that's like in 401k plans or 403b from their employer. That is their financial plan, even though they don't actually understand how it works. So one way in being able to pay yourself, if you're thinking, well, I just want to max out my contribution to my 401k, not taking into consideration that it is attached to the stock market and there are no guarantees in that ebb and flow. Instead of maxing it out, how about you put in what your employer match? And that's for easy numbers. Let's just say your employer's matched up to $4, but your max contribution would have been $8. Then you take the other $4 and you put it into some sort of financial tool that would allow you to then create 3 additional buckets of money, and many of those buckets are growing non-taxable. So that's one way to pay yourself. Another way to pay yourself is the simple point of just saving and understanding what you actually have to save out of your discretionary spending, putting yourself first. Yes, you have to pay those bills, but you're the person that worked to earn that money. So why do you not see yourself as one of your biggest, most important bills?
Awesome.
So I would say that in that instance. And then for an entrepreneur, it's about price point. Understanding that price may have a scale, but you have to find the price that works for you and not base the price on what you think sounds good, but base the price on what it costs you up to the point of sale, right? So in an example that you gave with a friend, let's just say if that friend was selling purses, and if she's selling those, she's getting the purse for $9 and selling it at 12, but by the time she does everything it takes to get that purse to the customer, she's actually spent $14, right? So the way that she changes that is that she really understands the process and the point in which she can first break even and then go into a net mode, because the money that you bring in as a gross really doesn't impact your bottom line in terms of paying yourself first until you can understand where is it that you break even and get into your net profit. So I think that's really important, understanding your product and what it costs you up until the point of sale.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you. That was loaded. Brother Derrick.
Yes. Now you may have to, I'm a little older, so you may have to help me with my
No, we don't have any old people. We don't have any old people on this show, and we don't wrinkle, thank God. So I think right. You are always young. So a couple of things. The two questions I asked you. One was about the distrust or lack of trust that our people, both on the continent and in the diaspora, have for financial institutions and people like yourself who are trying to help us, but we are kind of, suspicious of what it is. That, the risk versus the benefit. We focus more on the risk than on the benefit. Then part two was the fact that in this country in particular, you have to get into debt to be able to be credit worthy, to build your credit. And we know those credit cards come with a lot of finance charges and late fees. So those are the two things, Brother Derrick.
All right, the first one, I'll just take the first one on trust. And one of the things that I always look at is influences, body of influences and people who influence you. And what I've done over the years is work with individuals, again, no matter what level they are, but mainly when they're younger, or unfortunately, sometimes they don't have an understanding of how to build not only your savings, but build wealth and all those things. What I do is I help them to understand building a influence circle and people that you can trust. And that could be anybody from family members. It could be anyone from professionals, whether it be an insurance agent, it could be a retirement specialist, it could be a real estate, it could be anyone, but anyone you trust. And what happens is you said the word trust, but you have to have a body of influence. And that's what I always talk to people about. Find those people that you can pull close to yourself. More importantly, find those people that are doing the things that you want to do. Because when you find those people that are doing the things that you want to do, then you don't have to trust them. You don't have to trust what they say, you trust what they do. Okay, you see what they do, and that speaks for themselves. And so that's what a lot of times what I do is I tell people, hey, do you have this person? Do you know someone? Or are you around these kind of people? Whatever it may be. And I'm being very general, because you don't know who that body of influence could be. But when you have that body of influence, then what happens for you is then it helps you to move forward quicker and faster, because now you say, all right, I know Mr. P has done this. I know Kawan has done this. Okay, I know learners. I know these people have done this. I see it in their life. I see the way to go about it. So now I don't have to trust what they say. Now I see what they're doing. That automatically builds trust, because that's character, and then that character builds trust for me, and then I can move along with them. Okay, so that's how a lot of times that's how I approach it. And then the second thing, I think you talked about debt, understanding that if I want a credit card, if I want to buy a house, I have to get in debt in order to do that. Again, one of the things I do is I talk about building that circle of influence. And so, for example, I've helped many people to understand, all right, I want to buy a home. Okay, let's sit down, let's talk about who do you know? Who can you pull in together? I want to buy a business, I want to start a business, as opposed to just initially saying, I want to go to the bank, I want to do this. What happens is you build a group of influencers, people that can help you get what you need because they have the resources. Once you build that, Then you go in, and let's assume you go in and you open up a bank account, a business account, you go into the bank, you open that up. Now you're making deposits, you're doing things that way, you're paying your mortgage, you're paying whatever it is you're doing for your business or whatever. Now you're building a strength, you're building a history, you're building a level of character with that bank. Now it becomes easier for them to say, okay, now I want to now, if Mr. P comes in, let's say he wants to all of a sudden, he wants to get a line of credit. He wants to use their money as opposed to his money. Now it's easier for him to go in because they see a history. They see him coming in, they see him making payments, they see him making deposits, but it's his money, it's his deposit, whether it's coming from his circle of influences and how he's done that, or whether it's come from somewhere else. He's building it now when he goes into that bank. If he wants to get a credit card, if he wants to get a line of credit, if he whatever he wants to do, he's built a history. He's built, again, that word history is important. He's built that over time. And now it's easier for them to do that, whether it's a credit card through the bank, whether it's a credit card somewhere else, whether it's those things. But also more importantly, in the last part of that, he's now built a structure, and he's built an infrastructure in place, if you want to say, of how to make payments, how to do things, how to structure things, how to be systematic, and all those things now work on his behalf. And if he wants to get a credit card, if that's what he wants to do, if he wants to go to the bank, he wants to do those things. He's already used his body of influences that can help him move with, whether the influences to help him understand how to do things in trust, or if his influence is about helping him or her to generate revenue and bring in revenue so he can buy the house, get the business, buy a car, or whatever it is it may be.
Awesome. Please, before the next speaker comes on, could you just take a minute and tell our viewers how to get in touch with you? I mean, you talk about your book. You have some books out there. Please, can you just tell us about the book and how to get it?
Yes, I have 2 books, and my first book was Changing Your Condition and Not Your Position. And you can think about that a little bit. And my second book was, Are You Making a Living or Making a Life? You can get my book. You can go online, order my book, or through Ambassador Prophetess Lisa. She has all my contact information as well, and I'm sure she'll put it up. She seems to be quick and good at that, putting all information. So she has my email, my phone number. She has all that kind of stuff. And so anybody, you can get it. And those 2 books are very simplistic books. I want to say this. They're very simplistic. I think Sister Kiana said that earlier in one of her first statements. It's all about where people are. And these books are very simplistic. They don't help anybody. And Mr. P said it as well. They don't help anybody if you don't read it, if you don't open a book and read it. It's not long. It's very short. It's very to the point. It's very engaging. It has budgets in it, has worksheets. It has all the things you need to do, but it's very simplistic. And that comes from my education background, so that people can look at it. It is not, for lack of a better word, it's not intimidating. Most financial books are very intimidating because they're usually large. They're very difficult to read. And if you're not, again, like Kiana said, if you're not educated, or if you're not sophisticated, more importantly, you're not sophisticated, then it goes right over your head. And then of course you put the book down and you go do something else. These books are very simplistic, and I wanted it to be that way. And then once you get past my book, you go on, and then you can buy other books that are more sophisticated. But now you have a better base to move from.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We're on our time. Mr. Awah, answer your questions and then tell us if you have any books or anything, or how people can contact you. Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chairman, Chairperson. So my question was about Jangis, right? And why should people stop saving from Jangis and move their money to the financial institutions? So for people on the panel, I guess, who don't know what Jangi is, it is the Cameroonian word for crowdfunding someone. So basically, a bunch of family members, it's known in different names across Africa. Is that called Susu too? Is it the same thing as Susu? Yes. Yeah. So
Mr. P,
Susu, yes, sir.
Mr. P, can I say this before I forget? That's exactly what I was talking about when you finish. But that's what I was talking about, your body of influences. And that's just what I was talking about as well. Go ahead. Okay. I apologize.
No, that's fine.
No apology needed. It confirms, Mr. P is confirming what I was just talking about. Go ahead, sir.
Awesome. So that's what the word Njangi means. So basically, historical perspective. In Africa, we are even in the diaspora, we're very communal people. So back in the day, the way a family would farm either for the family business would have maybe family members or an entire part of the village, a whole cross section of the village is going to pick a certain day and go to one person's farm, knock it out in one day, and they'll do that all across. So everybody is going to get their huge pieces of land farmed, and it's going to go the same way. When it's time to harvest, they're going to go harvest for everybody. And so they shared labor. And when it came to build a house, they would also share labor. Everybody will come out to the community to build one person's compound or house or fence, whatever, and everybody goes home and stuff like that. And then when trade and economy turned into, more sophisticated, that turned into crowdfunding people with money to either invest or do some particular thing. And it morphed into Njangi. So there are small and large ones and stuff like that. There's actually no problem with Njangi, except that when you become financially literate, to Brother Billups' point, what is the purpose for that crowdfunding? If the person that's being crowdfunded is using that money to directly invest in a business or build credibility with a financial institution, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Okay, so it's basically raising funds to be able to either build credibility or infuse it in a business idea, like Brother Lanre said earlier in his story. Okay, now the problem is, for most third world countries, the financial infrastructure, institution-wise, is not readily available for people to use as we have in the West. And then the question becomes, if I live in North America, does it really make sense for me to crowdfund for the simple purposes of crowdfunding? I have a group of friends, and every month, one person walks away with 10 grand, and we do that all through the year. So 12 people every month, So what really happens is, if that is just for its own sake, then are we really applying the principles and basic fundamentals of building wealth? Because you have to understand the time value of money, which means that $1 today is worth more to you than that same $1 1 year from now. So the last guy to be the benefactor of that crowdfunding basically lost 12 months of interest for whatever he had been putting away, which now leads you to, should I put that money in an interest-bearing account? And then, of course, we're going to go into see Sister Kiwana here, which are the interest-bearing accounts that you think I should best utilize and stuff like that. So the question is, do I stop doing Njangi? If we are crowdfunding in North America for business purposes, Brother Billups nails it. We can crowdfund to build credibility. The bank wants to see a consistent track record of funding to know that you are solid, to be able to infuse money in your business. Smart idea. If we're doing it for the sake of doing it, then maybe we're not applying those principles, which as financial literate people, we must think of when we are investing. What is this money going to be valued to me 1 year from now? Am I making the right decisions to make sure that 1 year from now, when I take away taxes and inflation, I actually made a profit or I made a loss? And that is why I would advise somebody not to crowdfund or do Njangi for the sake of doing Njangi, but for the sake of building credibility. And if you can find somebody to help you, show you where you could put your money, where you could make decent rate of return, use time to build wealth, and don't lose time, then you're ahead. So that's one of the reasons why I'm going to advise somebody, don't crowdfund for crowdfunding stakes. Don't just do Njangi because it's customary. We did it back home. My parents did it. My grandparents did it. So I'm going to do it now. Do it because you have a purpose for it. And once you start thinking about your purpose, then you start thinking about making the right decision, because a wrong decision will lead you away from your purpose. And financially, we want to stay on track to hit our financial goals or purpose, so to speak. So that would be my answer to that question, Madam Chair Lady, and back to you.
How do they reach you? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna drop my my digital calling card on the link. It's
okay. Please do so. And
it's
again,
gonna take you to.
Yeah,
it's gonna have my information, phone number, emails, and everything.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. And yes, we are out of time.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for the participation. I want us to take a round of the table. I will start with Brother Landry. Don't worry about the cash business, but I know that you will always pay up your bills. So please, your last word. 1
minute, please. We're out of time.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Madam President, for giving me. I will take care of what I need to take care of.
Thank you.
This is a big takeaway and I hope that our other people who are on Facebook and other connecting social media are really learning from this. We have to take our future back into our hands. Like what Mr. Powell said right now, that really is that what is your objective? What's your goal? So it's your goal just to be working from day to day, or you want to retire well. You want to retire in good wealth. It starts from now, and that is where I'm going. You know, lifestyle is key for me. Family is key for me. My personal person is key for me. What is your objective? My objective is that to retire well and build that wealth that I can transfer that will go from one generation to the other. It's a simple step to take. It's just about information, how you use information. Like I said, what Pastor Derrick said, that your chain of people, the people that are around you, can make a difference and tell you how far you can go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sister Kiwana, please, your turn now. Your last word.
Well, one, I want to thank everyone. I want to thank the leadership. I want to thank the special guest speakers and all in attendance to just be present today. It was wonderful. Financial literacy is so important. And again, there are various resources out here that can teach you very inexpensive ways. Sometimes when people think about financial literacy and accumulating generational wealth, they think they have to start out knowing more than they know, and they think they have to start out having more monies available to them than they actually do. Not necessarily true. It's all about meeting people where they are and understanding that each plan is customized based upon you. So continue to reach out. As I stated, Prophetess Lisa, she has my contact and could share some upcoming events that we have. The beauty is that we're on Zoom, so you can be anywhere in the world just to get the information. Lastly, I'll say anything that I share is information. I don't sell products, I share information. If you hear something that works for you, then we can talk one-on-one and customize a plan for you.
Thank you very much. Brother Derrick, your last word, please.
Yeah, it was an honor for me to be here. Thank you so much. If you ever need my services or anything of that nature, if you need me to come back on, I'd love to come back on. I enjoy this. Anything you need from me, please don't hesitate to contact me. God bless.
Amen. Sure, we want you back someday. Okay, Ambassador Lisa.
Yes, my last word. My former pastor used to teach us that people's time is valuable and not to waste it. So often we're afraid to pay for people's expertise, but it is their expertise and they have spent years gathering their expertise. So when you sit down in front of somebody and you need help, sit down, invite them to lunch. Don't be fearful of paying for it. Always have your notebook and pen. Don't just sit and have a conversation without writing notes. I don't let people come to see anything that I do. Not that I know everything, but I'm like, what I put into this is valuable. So write it down because our memories are not long. My last word is going to be, don't mind paying for people's expertise. It costs them, and the scriptures say that our gift will make room for us. So don't be afraid to pay for what you need. It is going to be beneficial to you in the long run. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Brother Pius. I know you are cheering her on. Cheer yourself too. Don't forget to not cheer for yourself because it's only you that can pat yourself in the back. So go right ahead, your last word.
So I was on sabbatical. Madam Chair Lady, she accused me of being a disappearing act the last 2 years. But thank you all. Thank you especially, Reverend Pam, for calling me and giving me an opportunity to be back and to share. I want to thank all the panelists. Thank you for sharing your great story, Lanre. It was nice meeting you, Kiwana, and Mr. Billups. A pleasure. It was great. You know, it's financial literacy is something that's near and dear to my heart. I could talk about it all day long. We don't have enough of it. It's not taught in schools. We don't discuss it at kitchen tables. We actually scared of it. My organization actually currently does workshops on Zoom on a daily basis, 3 times a day. As Ms. Kiwana said, one of the things that the pandemic did was it gave us flying carpets. We could reach into anybody's home, you know, through Zoom as we're doing now and be able to help them. Don't be shy. I put my link on the chat, so click on it. You'd see some information about me, emails, phone numbers, and some information about these workshops that we teach on different aspects of financial literacy. Thank you again. I hope everybody had a great Sunday. It was nice being here. And back to you.
Thank you so very much. Co-host Sylvia, please, over to you.
It's been a pleasure meeting each and every one of you. A lot of invaluable information has been shared. Believe it or not, I've learned quite a bit myself. And I'll be able to, as a public speaker, I'll be able to impart some of this information to the audience that I cater for, to the general public at large. And as you said, we don't, as you say, we earn the money, we don't make the money, right? So let the government keep minting and making the money, and we'll keep earning the money.
That's right.
Grace. I hope to see all of you next week. Don't be strangers. We're talking about taxes next week. So it would be nice to have you guys back if you have the time. This is your show, it's your program. So feel free to come back, please. You don't need an invitation to come. We do it every day. I mean, every Sunday from 4 to 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Reverend Pam. I got it right.
Yes.
You got it right. Yes, Reverend Pam, your last word.
Yes, and this silver spring sunlight is in my face, you know, but since I'm so crazy about you guys, I did not change my position. So if you see me looking like, you know, looking different, it's because the sun is really hitting my face. And I had to check my time, make sure I don't zoom in on Houston time. But on behalf of Africa Online Media Corporation, I honestly want to thank every single one of you. And Pius, your contribution today is erase all your sins for the past 1 year that you have been missing. You know, and we really appreciate you guys. Again, we'll talk about taxes next week. You're welcome. This is your show. But this was so awesome. We're going to do a sequel before the end of the year, maybe toward the holidays when people are spending carelessly. You know, I am really honored, and I'm glad we own the show. So we extended it to accommodate everybody by 8 minutes. So Nia Song, I'll hand it back over to you. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. And you know, the sun is just in your face because you do not, you were not welcomed here by the official people who should have welcomed you. You just came into town without paying a landing fee.
Snuck in.
All the same, that said, thank you all very much, Brother Lanre, Brother Pius, Brother Derrick, Ms. Kiwana, Ambassador Lisa. Please welcome again. And as everybody has said, we need to see you again another time. Please enjoy and have a blessed week.
Thank
you.
Thank
you so much.